Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. Okay, today is the start of a new series. It's a crocheting playlist and this is the first video, and I'm going to kick off with a product review of a pattern or a series of pattern that I've just had so much enjoyment from. So you may know it already if you are a crocheter. You may be considering crocheting, and this I can highly recommend as a series of books or patterns that you can purchase and download and work your way through and make some gorgeous toys. Miss Hippopotamus here is one of them. Before I get started, I'll just tell you a little bit about my crocheting. I only started crocheting about 5 years ago. I was looking for something to do to relax of an evening and didn't have to think too much, and I thought crocheting might be something I could tackle. So I started watching YouTube channels and taught myself to crochet. There's some fantastic teachers out there, and once you get those basic stitches down, and it's not even the stitches, it really is how you hold the hook and how you hold the yarn. There's a few different ways, and it's finding the one that best suits you. So that was the start of my crocheting. I did have a try when I was about 15, maybe 14. My grandmother was a very good crocheter. She would crochet of an evening and also do tapestries, of course, and it was her way of relaxing because she was a dressmaker. So her days were sewing for the community, and she sort of specialised in weddings. So as you can imagine, it was pretty intense working out patterns. She'd draft them up and then stitch them with beads and trims and laces. And oh, I used to love visiting because there was always a wedding dress or bridesmaid dress on the go in the back spare room. So that'd be the first place I'd say, "Hi Grandma, how are you?" and straight down the hallway to that room. So she taught me how to crochet. Well, it didn't go so well. As I said, I was very young. I really wanted to know, but the brain just didn't, it just didn't get it. Excuse me. And I've still got the pattern and the sample piece that she got me to crochet. My example is no longer, but now that I look at it, it was simple but not real easy. I'll show you. She not only didn't give me a granny square, which is the best you can start with. This is what she gave me. Now, if you are a crocheter, you might look at that and go, "Oh, that's not too bad." But for my little brain, it was a little bit too much. But that's the square she gave me. So not only did I have to do the classic granny square, she put a flower in the center of it, which technically is not easy, but I failed. I could not pull it together, but I still have the sample. She's passed now. She passed probably about 6 years ago, and she was in her mid-90s. So this is my little treasure of that day or weekend, and she'd come to our farm as kids and she'd sew clothes for us kids. So I used to love when Grandma and Granddad would come. Granddad go and help Dad on the farm, and Grandma would set up on the sewing machine, and we'd have fabric ready and patterns and ideas, and she'd make us kids clothes and some pieces for Mum as well. So good times. Now, this is the pattern. So I haven't actually had a go at redoing the pattern. I don't know, it still looks daunting. I know what it is. I've done some amazing pieces since, if I do say so myself, that are quite technically difficult, but I don't know, maybe I should pull this out one day and have a little try. But she wrote the pattern out, and yeah, this is my grandma patch with the little pattern. There's little notes in there from me as well. As I was doing it, I couldn't quite make out the language that she was trying to say to me, so I've got little notes of my writing in amongst it just to sort of, you know, make sense, and even stitching together if I decided to join them. There's a little note there from me, so a little bit of a treasure. So I'll pop that away, and I will get on with reviewing Miss Hippopotamus here. So this hippopotamus is part of the Heidi Bear's Heidi Bear's designs, and she has created a African flower here. This emblem is well known out there as an African flower, but she's worked out how to make them either into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 petals, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 petals, and so on, to create a shape that can be used and stitched together to create a toy. And this is the hippopotamus. Just beautiful. Even little nostrils in there, beautiful. So I've made probably 3, I think it is, 3 of them. I have a friend that makes the teddy bear all the time and uses it as a gift for newborn babies. She's a teacher, so she's always surrounded by mums having children. So she just makes heaps of them, puts them on a cupboard, and whenever a little person comes along, she's got a teddy ready to go. So this was my hippopotamus. Now my bear, in this one I used the yarn that was recommended, so the sizing is pretty much perfect. My teddy bear, I went to a Spotlight and I fell in love with this yarn, but it was probably a little bit thick. So instead of the teddy bear being about 50 centimeters in height, he came in at about 65 centimeters. He may even be taller. Now I'll slide him in under the camera because I put spectacles on. Hey Ted, how are you? That's Ted. So he's got his arm, and then you can see his leg. It's a bit tricky when the camera is in the air above me, but I'll pop some photos up at the end so that you can see how Ted came to be. Now I did this guy, and then a friend of mine, actually her daughter was graduating, so she ordered a teddy in the colors of the school, and it was maroon and white. So I made one for her, and it was like a graduation gift, and we put the glasses on him, and then the mum made the little hat that they wear at graduation. So he came up beautifully. So that's the teddy pattern, and like I said, I used a yarn. It wasn't 8 ply, but boy, it sort of felt a bit that way. It was quite thick, and it's a variegated denim color range plus the wheat, and then there was a cream as well, so you can see the variegation in the thread. There was a dark blue, light blue, cream, and the wheat to build my teddy. So he became quite big. So if you don't want a big bear, just make sure you stick to the right size yarn that the pattern recommends. Then I went and made a dinosaur. Well, it's not a dinosaur, it's a dragon. Now this guy, I call him Nundle. In Australia, we only have a few wool processing factories left, and one is at Nundle in northern New South Wales, near the border of Queensland and New South Wales. I'm just not sure, is it Queensland or New South Wales? It's very close in around that region. And we went for a day trip because we were staying down at Stanthorpe, and visited the big wool factory that's still going, and they make the most beautiful wool. We had a tour through the mill, and then in the showroom at the end there was all this yarn for sale, and I went to the seconds bin because I thought I'm never going to make a jumper, so I'll get some seconds, and they just put in there this beautiful dark blue and a red. So I just grabbed all of it that was there, and I've had it in my stash. And then when I started making these Heidi Bear patterns, this dragon come along, and I thought, oh, how perfect would he be in the reds and the blues. So that's how the dragon came to be. So he's got fiery red nostrils in there. You can see his eyes, his cheeks. He's got horns on top of his head, some cute little ears either side. And then down his back are his spines, which are these little crocheted Heidi Bear triangles. She's so tricky how she's done it. And then they come right down his back and down his tail with a little red end. And then his body is just a series of the patches, and he's got a wing as well, because every dragon needs wings. I'll flip him over to his tummy, and there's a leg, and there's his tail again. So you can sort of get a feel for this dragon. I'll show you the pattern in a moment so you'll really see, you know, how he came to be. So that's Nundle, and he's made from handmade balls of yarn from the Nundle Wool Factory. Look at him. Isn't he gorgeous? He's so gorgeous. So that's my 3 pieces I've made. I've bought some more of the patterns, so I'll just want to go through them with you so that if you did decide to purchase one of Heidi's patterns, these are some of them available. Now, this guy is a little pony. I've seen him made, a lady had made them and was selling them at a flea market in my hometown, and he was just gorgeous. They were selling really well, so be a great little project gift for a little person, because yeah, I was watching kids just drawn to them. In the series of dinosaurs, there's this guy, there's Stegosaurus. So he's not as big as the dragon. So a great little project if you have a little person and you want a small toy. My friend has made this one for a birthday baby shower, and it was stunning. And the family, the mum and dad, they're in the Australian Army. So she did the colours of the Army, and he was beautiful. For a dinosaur, that's, you know, a perfect colour range. And he just looked gorgeous. So if mum and dad are away, the little guy had the little dinosaur. Now here is my dragon. That's him there. Okay. So he's not as big as Nundle, because once again my yarn was a little thicker than probably recommended by Heidi. Now what does she recommend? Sock yarn, featherweight. Yeah, I was definitely thicker than that. Mine was more jumper yarn. So keep that in mind. This little turtle, I saw him done in pastels at a lady's stall as well, and it was just beautiful. Absolutely real girly girl, and he just would make a beautiful cushion on someone's bed. And here is Teddy. That's him there. Don't be put off by the pattern book. Like, look at it. It's a beauty. There's a lot to Ted, because once you've made each of your medallions, and she gives you like a list of the different ones that you've got to make, and then how many you need to make, and then where they're actually used. So you can sort of use the little boxes here to tick off that you've made each of them. For example, the arm, she tells you the hook, and you'll need a 4 hexagon and where is it? 4 hexagon and a 6 hexagon, and you need a dozen of them. So you can just sort of work your way through the different areas from the legs, the head, the arm, and the motifs. So this checklist I just photocopied out of the book, and then I just had that with my yarn, so at any stage I can pick it up. And because I'd used thicker yarn on my Teddy, I had to just work out what hook sizes I was going to go to, because she recommended a 2.25 for the arm, and I had to use a 3 because my yarn was so much thicker. And then once you get all your pieces made, and I put them in a snap block bag, you then start the construction process of stitching all of the medallions together in the right spot to create all of the elements needed for your teddy bear. So awesome pattern, very well done. And this is my hippopotamus. So it looks so different in coloured yarns, but she is just gorgeous. And I'll just bring it back up because she is my favourite. There you go. Okay, everyone, I'll leave you to it. I will put a link in the description for Heidi Bears, but if you just type that name into Google, up pops her site. She's available on the Reveille site, plus heaps of other toy makers. There's just so many patterns out there that you can use. So if you were considering doing some toys in the crocheting world, highly recommend her. Okay, I will leave you all in peace. Happy crocheting, and thanks for dropping by and having a look at my little toys. Okay, thanks. Bye.